Every superhero and villain have very clear strengths and weaknesses, and pro wrestlers should be no different. On today's episode of World-Beater Wrestling, I'm going to look at the consequences of not having defined strengths and weaknesses, and some examples of ones you could have and how to apply them to your act. I usually find that strengths are the easy one because everyone knows what makes them an effective character, whether it be speed, agility, quickness, technical prowess, strength, resilience, intelligence, what have you. There are many different ways to spin it, but we all kind of know what makes us good. But weaknesses, that's the tricky one. A lot of people don't want to have a weakness. A lot of people don't want to have a vulnerability, but your character definitely needs one. So you might have to take a deep dive into who you are and the history of your character. What have been your motivations and goals? What have been the values that you had from the beginning of your career up until now? What have been the events and how have they changed your character? If you think about last week's episode where we spoke all about character arcs, this is a great way to start to get the ball rolling when you're thinking about things like vulnerabilities and Achilles heels. Where are your character's morals? Where do they lie? Let that guide you. Your Achilles heel could be things like greed or arrogance or overconfidence or obsession, whatever it may be. Having those distinct strengths and weaknesses are a great way and an easy way to shift the momentum of a match. Maybe as your character started to show a bit of arrogance, it allowed a few gaps for your opponent to start to fight back. You showed that frustration, it caused you to make a mistake, and now all guns blazing, we're going straight into that comeback. Or on the other side of things, when you were getting beaten down, maybe your strength was that you're resilient. You just don't give up. You keep fighting. And as you kept fighting, you caused your opponent to become frustrated. That opened up an opportunity. You showed that resilience. You showed that fire. And again, now you're back in control. Without vulnerability, there's no drama. As a heel, you have to have some kind of weakness that the babyface can take advantage of. There has to be some sort of hope, because without hope, there's no reason for a crowd to ever get behind the babyface. And on the other side of things, as a babyface, you have to have obstacles that you're trying to overcome. Of course, they can be created by your opponent, but it's even easier to have a vulnerability inside, something that you embody that causes you to be down on your luck from time to time. Now the crowd senses that willingness to overcome this obstacle. It might even be something that they have encountered in their own life. And the more you do that, the more you create an emotional response with the crowd. And they want to support you on your rise back to glory. So if you haven't already, I suggest you think of one strength and one weakness for you and your character. It'll not only improve the logic and effectiveness of your storytelling, but it'll also highlight even more reasons for bookers to place you in deeper story arcs in the future. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I would love to hear from you. What are your character's strengths and weaknesses? If you could, drop it into the comments box below. As always, please hit the subscribe button, ring that little notification bell. It all helps the algorithm, and I will see you next Thursday for another episode of World-Beater Wrestling.
If you want to see more videos like this, click on the subscribe button, spread the word, and if you have any questions or requests for World-Beater Wrestling, don't be afraid to comment below.